Hope you're having a great day. What is slavery? You gotta do what somebody else wants? Well, how's that different than a job? Why is that not a job? Some people in this country, in this land at least, some of the people that were freed when they were slaves, it was kind of a dilemma. Like, them and that household were all mixed up. They made children together, they sang, they danced together. Like, it all wasn't ugly and horrible. They had somebody with means care about them. But now, you gotta stand on your own. You gotta do it for you. Go, go, go. That's a lot of change, man. That is a lot of change. And to be certain, in no way is slavery good. The Supreme Court of this country ruled in the favor of slavery because, that Bible, the new Bible, that Christian thing, that, this Judaic tradition, Mohammed. A lot of people speak to slavery. I've always been the fan of the folk that speak to the people. But what makes slavery? One of the parts that have been agreed with throughout the course of history has been having things necessary to the basic elements of life being took away from you. You need water to exist? Sorry, you gotta pay. I'm gonna take that from you. You want food? Now here we get into dilemmas, right? Because what if you just want to sit around and do nothing? Should somebody have to bring food to you? Or if you get hungry enough, shouldn't you have to go feed yourself and go do something about it? What about some people want to just sit and eat all the time? So quickly can our basic needs become a confusing debate. However, in the great American experiment, freedom has always been defined on you can have a piece of land, and each piece of land will be as different as the person who inhabits it. And whatever you want to get into, go get into it, and go do your best, and know you're loved. Have at it. We don't have czars. We have secretaries. We have people who serve. Not czars. Czar, although has been this new term, like traffic czar or whatever, it's a terrible idea. And it should not be allowed in our lexicon. We should have secretaries, And I'm not a big fan of judging people for their words either. I get yelled at. Don't try to control my thoughts, and I won't try to control your thoughts. You share, I share. So most of the books back there's a big chunk over there with music. But most books up there are different cultures, different times, celebrating the choices of freedom. What does it sound like? What does that look like? What does it smell like? It's so different, huh? But when my freedoms take away your freedoms, we got a problem. And when in this country, you completely disregard inalienable rights, when you completely disregard the United States Constitution, it might take the United States federal government an extraordinarily long time to get there. But it is coming. And the first part of leadership is setting an example. So instead of trying to focus on exporting things, focus at home. It's priorities. For instance, there's this guy that gave this amazing lecture to some really privileged people where he showed this container and they had large rocks and sand and then another container of water, sand and a container of water, yeah. And you try to all fit it in one thing. It only fits if you get the order right. Just like life, it only fits if you get the order right. Take care of yourself. Take care of your spouse. Take care of your kids. You got anything extra? Give it on to the world. Know you're loved. Do the things that you're great at. Be thankful and be appreciative and go pursue life in any way you want. My children have been kept from me for 2 years now. Zero contact since the first week of May last year. We're now halfway through February. An illegal government entity did that. I'm not on the border between Mexico and Mexico and the United States. I'm in Ohio. It's a bunch of French people came over here and hung out with natives. And it's actually Ohio. I'm in the badass state of Ohio. Illinois, Iowa. Native words trying to be caught in their language. The Vietnamese know of this. Well done, French. So, I have an illegal government entity trying to pretend that I am its slave. And one of the ways slavery is described very clearly is that you cannot own land. Ownership, by very definition, means you don't have to tithe again and again and again and again and again. I can buy a chunk of land, and I can just live off that land if I'd like. Maybe I really want to participate in society. Maybe I don't. I grew up in a time period where a very liberal, beautiful Jewish lawyer from New York City argued for the rights for Ku Klux Klan in Idaho to be very angry and misguided, unheard, confused. Not my cup of tea, but I went up and listened to him. Very angry. But it is not unique to white. Like, I went to a Black Panther meeting. I was not welcomed. We're not welcomed. Here's the hitch. We all have inalienable rights. The United States Constitution is a wonderful beginning for those inalienable rights. I don't need somebody else to give them to me. In fact, because they're inalienable, any healthy government should be scared shitless of its populace. That's what makes the United States so badass. Think of that. I have the internet, and it's free and open, and I'm using a cell phone to post it up into the ether so that anybody who can listen to it, from my children who are being kept from me illegally because they have faith in you, and contacting the 2 senators of the state of Ohio. Our domestic courts profiteer off the commitment of child abuse. Our court system in general profiteers off of bribes, 1, and 2, the inflammation to the mentally ill. This person says harsh things about you. Prove you're innocent. That's more than 500 years of Western civilization just thrown in the trash so that you can make $1. And these people that do that want to hide behind this rule of sovereignty of the king, sovereignty under the king. That's ridiculous. These human beings have a doctorate. They went to high school, they went to college, they went to masters, and then they went and got their Juris Doctorate, and they passed an incredibly hard test. And then a person that works in the same building with them gave them the money that was necessary for them to get their job. And then you give extra rope to that person because you're human and you can. After all, you're not held accountable. And you make more money when you take kids away from their fathers. A lot of fathers will go, get busy, work hard, work yourself into the grave. Of course you'll work yourself into the grave to get your children back. That's something men have always been willing to do. Not share feelings, not be vulnerable, not be exposed, not to be weak. After all, I'm just whining because my ex-wife took advantage of me and I got a raw deal, and there's nobody who got divorced and didn't get a raw deal. Don't lose focus. Catherine, Ella, Leah, Michael have been kept from their father illegally. No evidence was ever provided. All the evidence was given makes clear that those accusations were false. There were witnesses that said the goal was parental alienation from the beginning. After all, you will not see those kids 1 minute more than the minimum the court requires. And the court made it good business. They profited just by their will. Why wasn't I willing to just pay a human being to go into an unrecorded room to sit and chit-chat with the judge? You're an elected official. You're an elected official who has to go through all those hoops because when you get it wrong, the people will hold you accountable. You know who isn't okay with you illegally taking away access to my children? United States Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Coast Guard, FBI, CIA, NSA. Everybody. Now, I have begged my local governments for help. I have attorneys that took money that then didn't tell me when the hearing was to show up and say, I don't want to be his attorney and just knock the check. I have top campaign donor to a judge who, because he said it was true, it must be true. So go ahead, start proving your innocence. After all, my top campaign donor said it on the backside of a whole career, 30 years of willfully bribing the court. That's Randall Lowry's legacy. The judge's legacy is one that when she finds her mistake, instead of rising to the occasion, celebrating it, fixing it, addressing it, seeing if there was any systemic issues that could be fixed and changed, she's trying to sweep it under the carpet. Worse than that, she poked at it more and harder, trying to surely find where that fault is. After all, if we make life incredibly hard, what if I illegally took away all your access to resources? What if I turned off your electricity, turned off your water, took away everything, took away your meal, took away your kids? Surely by then you're going to suck and make a mistake, and that mistake will become the justification for me taking away your kids for money, profiteering off child abuse, completely ignoring the United States Constitution, completely ignoring due process. Due process is viewed by the entirety of the world. And I'm talking about all those 100+ countries that are democratic republics or democracies where you celebrate freedom and you try to get it right. There's nothing good to this story, with this exception. My kids believed in your ability to call two human beings, the two senators of the great state of Ohio, the great state of Ohio. Fix this child abuse. There is an illegal government entity enacting within the United States. It's called county governments. They want me to endlessly pay for my land, otherwise I don't get to exist. The feds could never do that. The state couldn't do that. We made this weird, serfdom, vassal size thing. It's very interesting because it's similar to how Germany was broken up into a bunch of principalities. Ohio's broken up into 80-some principalities. They would think I am the voice and the face of their slave. And they're so emboldened, and they know it so well that I'm their slave, they're willing to take away my kids with no due process, with no just cause. It doesn't matter how well I prove my innocence, my kids are removed from me so that they can go ahead and experience generational-based child abuse. They didn't just hurt my kids, they hurt my kids' kids. And so what? So they could make a couple of shekels more. How crappy and horrible is that? How grotesque is that? And then they want to avoid accountability by pretending they have a right to hide behind these words. Sovereignty of the king. I am an American. If you study American history, you know this. We murder kings. You want to pretend we're your slaves? We'll spill your blood all over the soil to enrich the crops we grow and feed our children with. We have no compunction about this. We celebrate, even in our prisons, we celebrate in this country people who end child abuse. You want to rule a prison? Go ahead and be the fellow that kills child abusers. And that's not me saying it. That's the reality of what exists. You want to go ahead and be in harm's way? Completely ignore the rights of a United States citizen and do it in the great state of Ohio and see how fucking quiet I'm going to choose to be while you give me a front row seat to watching my own children be abused so that you can completely ignore everything. Those same kids thought you, the person that's listening to this video, are a hero. That you're awesome, that you're badass, that you're perfect, that they can't believe that they get to share this spaceship with you. And they know it's true. They know it's true because of the genetics from the beginning of life all the way through now. The story of every living thing that's had to exist for you to have the privilege you have right now. The access to information that you have right now, the great freedoms that somebody else sacrificed their life, their blood, their dreams for you, so that you can have that right. Pick up the phone. Okay, Google, who are Ohio senators? Call them, email them. Siri, call my Ohio senator. It is not okay that there are counties in this state that use the word county in text to hide under the fact that they endlessly want to believe I'm their slave. They get to take away my land because I don't pay them every single year forever. That's grotesquely illegal. Federal government, help. Because they can go ahead and take away my children for money, help. And I don't mean this lightly. I mean it this seriously. Oh Lord, my God, is there no help for the widow's son? Help. Help. I have a GoFundMe page, not because I expect to be made whole because of the shortcomings of my spouse. You make sandcastles in the beach one day with somebody and they throw a big temper tantrum and smash everything. That's a risk you run. I need resources and help so that the house that I built, literally that I built for my children who were literally taken away from me illegally. I know I'm not on the Mexican border. I'm in the great state of Ohio. I'm in Ohio. Help. Thanks for watching the video. Know you're loved. Know you're missed. Know you're appreciated. And know when you make those phone calls, you're participating in something that your family sacrificed for. An idea so beautiful that your forefathers and foremothers gave so much for. And when you look in a mirror, see a hero. See something worthy of love. And then maybe all you could do is share it. Thank you. I love you. Don't let the wrongdoings of others become the excuse for you to feed a shadow. Don't serve fear. There's no master to see fear. Serve love. And 4 kids believe in your ability to make that phone call because they were given the choice that if this goes a little longer, we just might have an opportunity to make it better for the entire state. And maybe we could fix child abuse for the whole state. Not only did my children believe in me, more importantly, they believed in you.